What's up, everyone? This is Jay from COI. So last year there was a attack on a naval military base in Pensacola, Florida. Three sailors were killed and several were wounded. This seemed to be kind of a lone wolf type attack. He was a Saudi military trainee, but that's kind of where it ended. There didn't seem to be much more. That is until Christopher Wray's FBI looked into it. They have been unlocking his phone. He actually had two phones. One that he shot that had all of this information on it that they're finding out, and a separate one which he used to contact certain people. We haven't been given the information on he was contacting, but we do have information pertaining to the phone that he shot. And lo and behold, it shows a connection to Al Qaeda. But not only that, it showed that this connection happened in before 2015. So, what does that mean? That means, essentially, Saudi Arabia was aware of his terrorist connections. They allowed him into their military and allowed him to to use their name to train over here in Florida. I'm not saying that they, that they pushed this attack or that this was their idea, but they were at least complicit in the fact that this man was a terrorist. They had information regarding it, and Christopher Wray said just that. Now, of course, didn't really call out Saudi Arabia because a lot of people don't. But let me play Christopher Wray's press conference.
The evidence we've been able to develop from the killer's devices shows that the Pensacola attack was actually the brutal culmination of years of planning and preparation by a longtime AQAP associate. The new evidence shows that al-Shamrani had radicalized not after training here in the United States, but at least as far back as 2015, and that he had been connecting and associating with a number of dangerous AQAP operatives ever since. It shows that al-Shamrani described a desire to learn about flying years ago, around the same time he talked about attending the Saudi Air Force Academy in order to carry out what he called a special operation. And he then pressed his plans forward, joining the Air Force and bringing his plot here to America. Thanks to a lot of hard work by our people, we now know that al-Shamrani continued to associate with AQAP even while living in Texas and in Florida. And that in the months before the attack, while he was here among us, he talked with AQAP about his plans and tactics, taking advantage of the information he acquired here to assess how many people he could try to kill.
And look, my big issue with this is, aside from the fact that this man was pretty much a known terrorist and Saudi Arabia was well aware of it, if this man had been Iranian, we'd be talking about war right now. We would be talking about responsibility. We would be talking about a conspiracy by Iran. And what do we hear right now? Nothing. In fact, most information about this story is really hard to get because not a lot of people are talking about it. And definitely not on media. I haven't seen anything on Fox News or CNN. Print media, yeah, they mention it, and it's pretty much a small story. This is massive when we're talking about our diplomacy and dealing with a country that, for better or worse, we end up calling them an ally more than we call almost anyone else besides Israel an ally. We take so much from Saudi Arabia. And if it was another country, we wouldn't do it. I don't know why. I really have no idea. And it's not like I have anything against the Saudi Arabian people, but Saudi Arabia's government is nothing less than authoritarian, dictator, brutal. I mean, they behead people in the middle of the road. In their town square, in fact. They hold beheadings. We look the other way. We comment on every other country and what they do. Hell, if you happen to be part of the legacy media, you've spent the last 3 years trashing Russia. Say nothing about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia arguably was behind 9/11. It's cool. We're still protecting their oil fields. Our soldiers are still dying over there. Donald Trump made that happen. And Trump's not the only one. I want to be clear on that. Every president we've had, dealing back to Daddy Bush, actually Reagan, Saudi Arabia has been closer than a brother to us. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of reasons, and a lot of them are money. Most politicians are given money by Saudi Arabia. You go around DC, everything you really can't go that far without seeing something that said made possible by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia or funded by Saudi Arabia. Then if you look into who actually funds campaigns, you'll find out, oh, Saudi Arabia. So when there haven't been many politicians talking about this issue that they would typically, I mean, your Ted Cruz's, hell, your Donald Trump's. Donald Trump is huge on terrorists. Hates terrorism, hasn't tweeted anything about this. I'm not shocked when Ilhan Omar was one of the few who's actually said something about it. And she said basically what I did. Right now, it's just funny how it's Saudi Arabia and no one's talking about it. If it was Iran, if it was any other country, this would be a huge deal. And look, we let this country kill one of our journalists. Don't care. Saudi Arabia. We love them. I don't know why. It's not oil anymore. I mean, I guess weapon sales. I mean, we use them for proxy war. Even though we end up losing more of our military men defending their soil over there. I really have no idea. But anyway, I just thought I'd bring this up because very few people are. And so, yeah, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. This is one story I would definitely stick with. Because there's going to be a lot of stuff that come out about it. And I'm really curious if we're going to be made aware of who he was contacting. It could be very interesting. I think the more they find out, though, the more they're probably going to cover up. Christopher Wray does seem to be giving a lot of information, but you still have to wonder, if there is a red flag that points directly at Saudi Arabians, leaders, or government, either or. If we'll hear about it, we probably won't. But anyway, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one. Do you think I'm just being too hard on Saudi Arabia? Do you think it's okay? Are you against this? Are you just as angry about it as I am? That we let terrorism happen because it's a different country that we happen to, for some reason, like a lot. But anyway, take care, guys.